Hello everyone, welcome back to NASpedia. I'm Razon and today I'm going to introduce you to a really interesting topic. Actually, it is the Qsync, and many of you might be familiar with Qsync from our QTS, which is quite popular app and is an authentic app from QNAP and our QTS version that helps you create kind of your own private cloud. Not kind of, but actually you can have your own private cloud. Furthermore, with this one you can sync the folders with many computers with your NAS and vice versa, where you can have access to the files and all the folders together. Either if you are in individual and you're willing to share all the information, the files and the folders with your family members, your friends, or any other project that you're working together with, or even if you are a small to medium enterprise and you are willing to work with the teams together, you have access to all this data in one shared folder together using Qsync and Qsync Central and Qsync client that we have for the PC. More so, it can be used also on cross-team network, where you can work if you are a company that has regional offices or offices across the world. You can also use this feature to have access to all the files and folders remotely and work all together. Even if there are some changes in these files, there we have some exclusive features in the Qsync that you can see the changes, and I will be showing to you later on. So I will introduce the topic for today, which is the QNAP NAS to synchronize the files on your computer and NAS with Qsync, as I mentioned earlier. So moving on with the slides, I will introduce first the user interface and how to first install the Qsync Central in the QTS and how to get the Qsync client in your computer, then to synchronize the files later on. Therefore, I will show you first how to get the files. By doing so, you have to get to QNAP.com, the official website, and you go under here QTS and you search for utilities. Under QNAP utilities, we have different utilities for essentials, enterprise, entertainment, and surveillance. But we are looking for now is the essentials. It's as QNAP Qsync is an essential app for your QTS. As we have QFinder, and we scroll down here until we get Qsync. And Qsync is available for Windows, for Mac, Ubuntu, for 64 and 32-bit. So by getting Qsync, first you download the Qsync client here, and with a single click, and you will get Qsync client and simply install in your computer. That's the first step. Second step is log into your NAS, and then you have to search for Qsync Central, which I already have downloaded and installed, but I'll show you how to get it through the App Center, where you just simply search for Qsync Central or only Qsync here, and you will have the recommendation to open it if it's already installed it, or just download it and then install it after. Yeah. So once we are done with that, we get the Qsync Central. We start the installation process for the Qsync Central in your computer, which is really quick, really fast with the wizard. Just click OK, and you follow the next steps. As I mentioned earlier, I have already installed, so I'll just show the Qsync client as I have here, ready to set it, and Qsync Central in my QTS. So to see this, the next step would be synchronization. So we have to synchronize. We have to make these two apps to communicate with each other. We have to set the synchronization for a single folder that we can have, or multiple other folders that we can have access from both different computers with the NAS and vice versa, as I mentioned earlier. So I will show you the process of how to synchronize now, and we will see later on all the important features that we have to show you. So going back here, we see the Qsync Central, then we have the Qsync client. To do so, we have to open first the Qsync client by searching for the NAS, and there are two options to do. There are actually three options to do so. First is via the LAN. you can search for your QNAP NAS that you want to sync. If your NAS is here, then you just simply select it and through the LAN connection. And if it's not there, you can do it with a QID or log in with your My QNAP cloud if you have already set it. If not, check out our other videos how to set up My QNAP cloud ID. But you can also type in the IP of the NAS that you are willing to synchronize with. In this case, as I'm using this NAS and I know already the IP, I can copy paste this IP here and connect and follow the next steps. So, and the next step would be to log in with the username and the password of the NAS in the QNAP Qsync client. So I'll just write the username, the password, and then you have the opportunity to have the SSL secure login if you have the certificates, or automatically select the best connection method by clicking here, and it will give you the information which one would be better. Also, you can set the name to identify the computer with the NAS. So whatever name you put here, it will identify this computer in your NAS or in Qsync Central, to be more specific. So by clicking apply, we see here that it's loading and it's logging in. And the next step would be to select the folders to sync. And here I have the home, by default, home Qsync folder to sync it with the paired local folder, which is the Qsync in my C disk of my computer. And I have C, as you see here, the folder, another shared folder on the NAS, which I will be talking later why this has appeared here and how we can add more of these folders here to pair. So for now, I will be pairing only the home sync folder here with the Qsync in my computer, or you can just simply click here, not to, if you don't want to do that, or edit it here. So by clicking finish, we can see that the computer and the NAS are connecting, and in an instant time, all files are up to date, which means it has connected to. And we can see also here in the Qsync Central that we have enabled the connection, and we have synchronized the NAS and the computer according to the information that we have right now. So I will go later on, I will go to explain each of these two apps. First, I will give you a short overview of Qsync Central, a short overview of Qsync client, and then I will get to use to more detail the features and the options that this app provides. So first, as I mentioned, I will be talking about Qsync Central, a really short introduction about Qsync Central, what does it include and what are the options in Qsync Central. I will go quickly through it, and then I will come back to explain the Qsync client, and then I will explain all in details. So going back, we have the Qsync Central user interface, as you have seen by now. You have the user customization mode, where you have all the information on total size, the use size, and all the users that are actually now. So the users are the two devices that I'm after the synchronization, is the NAS and the computer. And you can also have the information how to get started with Qsync clients, either by, as I showed you, through the website, official website, to get the Qsync client for Windows or Mac, but also it is available for Linux, Ubuntu, 64 and 32-bit, access to files on mobile devices with Qsync Central by installing Qfile app to access the Qsync files. The Qfile app can be found in the App Center of your mobile phone and version that you're using, and also depending on the OS that your smartphone uses. Furthermore, it has a managed sync with a file browser. It does manage and it does integrate with a file station, a very powerful, authentic file manager created by QNAP authentically for QTS, and it does include all the information that you're going to use in your Qfile, in your files in your computer. It can be done the same for the Qsync folder and many other folders for your QTS by file manager, which is the file station. So we have here on the left panel, we have all the features of the Qsync, which is the management settings. And you have to, I will go quickly here because I will later on try each of the features one by one. But what I want to show you here in the management settings, by clicking Edit Preference Settings, it is important to see the information on Synchronize. So you can see if the Qsync will keep all the files synchronized among the NAS and the local computers, or you can simply take here to not remove any file of the NAS during the synchronization. I will leave it as it is now. What I want to show you is the policy, the conflict policies. This is a really important part of the Qsync because you are sharing folders and there might be conflict policies on the same files or folders with the same names, and you want to know what you're going to do with that automatically without being bothered many times. So you will have the opportunity to protect your changes by having the options on conflict policies to let you decide for each file, or rename the files on the NAS, or rename the local files, replace the NAS with the local files, and replace local files with the files on the NAS, and so on. So I will leave this as I want to be aware of the changes I'm going to do. I will leave this on the let me decide for each file, and you can see the filter settings here that you can do by adding during the synchronization. The system can also skip files based on the filter settings that we are going to set here, either by extension or any other file with the system filter settings that we are adding here. So I'll say apply, and I'll show you this. More so in the management settings, you can set up the email and use an SMTP server for the NAS. If you are able to do so, you can also connect it with a Qmail agent, which is another authentic QTS email manager, and you can have in one synchronized folder all the emails to check. More so, you have the users, and you can check the users for the Qsync Central. This means the users that are in the QTS. What I mean by that is the same one as creating a user from the control panel here, where under users, where you can create and see the users that you have on your QTS, and who are the users in the Qsync Central that are going to benefit from the Qsync services. So by online users here, or clicking a create user is the same as I mentioned from the creating a user from the control panel. I will talk about this later as well, which we also have another video on, if you check all other videos, how to create a user on the QTS or on QNAP NAS is the same. But you can also see the all users here that I already created another user, and the administrator user remains. So we go through the devices, and also as in the overview pages, it shows you how many devices are connected to Qsync Central. Here it is a more detailed description of the devices that are connected, synced with the Qsync, and you can see the information by the IP, the latest events, the logs and event time, and if the connection is live or not, if it's connected or if it's disconnected. So it is this computer and the Qsync file station, which I will connect it later, as I mentioned earlier. More so, you have the event logs. So I've been trying earlier before the Qsync connection, and you can see that I logged in, logged out, all the information, the IPs of the computer, the device name, and the starting time. Also, you can check if they are local users or domain users or if it was the admin or any other created user that I just mentioned earlier by the users here. More so, I will show you into more details the theme folder, where I will be talking more how to create these theme folders, how to use the shared folders, which are the shared folders as you saw it earlier when I wanted to create the folders to sync. You saw that I had one more folder in the beginning, which is set the folder. Here it is enabled and the others are disabled. If I enable all of these, there would be the same options in the beginning as well. Later on, I'll be talking also about the shared file links, and you can create a share link for a certain file and share it with your team members, your co-workers, or anyone that you're willing to share with. And later on, under the exclusive features of the Qsync, I'll be talking about the version control and why we need the version control. This will be under the exclusive features later on, the version control, and I will talk also about the remotely erased devices later. So this was to shortly introduce Qsync Central, but I want to introduce also the Qsync client interface, and this will be much quicker because I already included most of the parts in Qsync Central introduction. So going back to see the Qsync client, this is the Qsync client interface, and as we saw, we did the synchronization with the NAS before. Now we can see all the information here by the computer name, the connection status, the username, and the address of the NAS. Also, you have the information of my QNAP cloud this QNAP NAS is connected to. So if you use this QID, you can connect the NAS directly if you don't know the IP, as I connected earlier. So having here, you can have the go Qsync the main page by refreshing, but also you can create edit the connection here if you're using the SSL certificates. And if as I said, if you know the my QNAP cloud address, you can via QID and then connect the QNAP NAS with the Qsync through the QID, and you can do the edit the connection by clicking this button here. It can be done same by right click here for removing the NAS and adding another connection by add NAS here, which it will land you in the same page. It will have the same information. And also when you right click under the NAS here on the connection that you have, you choose to remove the pause the syncing or sync with NAS now, which it means you can resync and see if you paused it before. Furthermore, you have the settings here, and then in the Qsync client you have the opportunity to set proxies if you're using proxy settings, or auto select and manual depending on you. If you know the server, set a username, password, and use that proxy, but in this case we don't need it. So we move to the personal settings, where you have the language choose. You can choose language from different languages. That QNAP is a global company and has to use different languages for all its apps. And you can choose also the region where do you want to use the Qsync client. More so, you have the opportunity to import photos and videos when there are USB external devices connected, which we already left it here. And for more information, you go here, it will tell you that it imports all the videos and photos under the DCIM folder there. And you can make all the changes here, and you have the advanced settings, where you can enable the LAN settings or enable the debug log. So by enable debug log, you will see you can send the logs, and you can also clear the logs. It depends on what you've been using. So these are the basic settings of the Qsync client that just a short introduction in it, as I want to show you how to use the information center here by sharing center, visiting the sharing center, and file update center. So this is about the Qsync client. And by clicking here, sharing center, you have the opportunity, as I mentioned earlier, to use the theme folder to create these theme folders, to share it with other people, or check if it's been shared with me, or create the share file link, as I mentioned earlier, which you can see I already have one shared file link made ready, and you can see the information. This would be similarly shown here, which I'm going to show now. So we have the view and manage paired folders here option, so we can view what kind of folders are synced when they are sharing information with one another. But if we are willing to add more, we will just add here, and as you can see that one of the folders from the QTS willing to be shared and is enabled to be shared is the folder called the folder. So this you will have information, and then by clicking on the plus here you will be enabling this to sync and choose another folder that is going to be synced with in my computer. So I will be talking about this into more details in the next few steps. And then also you by clicking here the view files by the web browser, it will direct you to the file station, as I mentioned earlier, that the file station is the authentic file manager, and you can have access to the Qsync folder here, either from your computer or from file station, which it will show you the same. This is the powerful interaction between computer and NAS, and file station does that. It shows you with different screen interface, maybe more beautiful, but the same information. Also, the network recycle bin. By network recycle bin from Qsync client, what I mean by that, it's the same in the file station, where it will direct you and you will see the recycle bin of all these Qsync folder that we are synced together with. Therefore, to conclude on this one, I just want to show you another feature, another gadget, a really small gadget that it comes with the Qsync client, which is here, and then you see Qsync file here, and it tells you the version, but by clicking on it or right click on it, you have the Qsync Genie, which is a very quick and fast Qsync client interactor, which has all the features here, like Qsync with the main page, send us the main page, open the Qsync folder, and then it will show you here, and then you can open the Synchronize folder there directly by not really needing to open the big screen interface for the Qsync client. You can quickly manage with this Qsync Genie all fast, and you don't really need to waste time on searching where the Qsync client actually is, because it is there, it's already synced. And also have direct access to the settings that I just mentioned earlier, or have to show you which is the connection, the NAS. More so, you have the upload to NAS from Qsync Genie, so you can use this one directly to upload to NAS. From the Qsync client, you can, by clicking that one, you will import all the files here, clicking next, and you follow this wizard on using the Qsync Genie. So that first you have to detect the Qsync Genie, and then use Qsync Genie is connected to your PC via the USB. So you have to download the Qsync Genie first. Therefore, I want to go back to the PPTs and now talk into more details how to share the folders and share the file links, as I was mentioning earlier. So there are several different methods, very simple to understand, but very useful to know and to access the folders that we are willing to share and the file links that we are willing to use. So we'll see now different methods how to do it. First thing I want to go to Qsync Central and go to the team folders here and shared folders, and we can see that we have the folders from the QNAP NAS that we are willing to sync, and by now it's only the folders enabled. So if I enable more of the folders here, they will be ready to be synced if I use the Qsync client back there in my computer. So it's applying the changes, and by going here, by using actually the Qsync client, we can see that we are in the sharing center. When we are going to set another folder, not here, but in the view and manage paired folders. So when we are willing to manage to share another folder, by clicking add, you see that the new folders that I enabled in the Qsync Central are ready for synchronization. So maybe I'll use the folder as earlier with one of my documents here, say maybe warranty extension, and then I will pair another folder here. So you can see that the folder is paired with the warranty extension, and it's synchronizing here. So let's go, and in the Qsync folder you see that I have the warranty extension folder synced with the NAS, and I have all the information as it should be shared. So maybe I can also check the file station, and it should have the same okay, it's still okay, it's still uploading. So for here it takes a little bit more time, but let me go to the devices and try to connect the Qsync with the file station. So this is taking a little bit more time. Anyway, we saw that the Qsync with the folders has been managed, and all files are up to date from the Qsync, but with the file station it will take, because of the connection, it will take it will show later on. So what I want to do next is to share another folder, by a right click here. We can one of the folders sync with NAS or all files now if it's one of these folders, as I synced earlier. But once I click inside, I can right click on this file, this folder that is inside of the synchronized folder. I can Qsync, right click Qsync, share the link, create the share link directly, or share this folder as a team folder, as I wanted to show you earlier, or delete this folder but keep its copy on the NAS. So share this folder as a team folder. It will directly head you to the Qsync client, and as I mentioned earlier, by creating a user, you have the opportunity to use it in teams as a folder, because there are other users in the NAS, and then you can give access to this guy, say for example John, to have to be member of the team folder, as he is a member, supposedly to be a member of the team. So by clicking apply, we have this folder ASAP is shared with the other team members, and now it is a team folder, supposed to be a team folder. Then it will have this one, and this guy will have access to it. But first we have to log in with John on our QTS, which I already prepared the login for John, and go to the Qsync Central, and you have to find the information on the team folders and check if you actually receive kind of a invitation to be using the team folder with. So you can see that the Qsync here. Oh, right. So you have the shared file links, the team folders, and the version control. So you have the version control is enabled, and let me see the team folder and sharing with people, and here it is shared with me. So I have to check what is shared with me, and you see, as I got the invitation from the admin and me as a receiver, John, to get the folder ASAP, and you have the action to either accept it, deny it, leave, or remove the record. So I will simply accept, and now as a user group, or as a new user, John is member of the team folder and has the rights, where also we can check the rights here of the team folder from the admin. So we can check sharing with people, and also you can edit and see John here that has accepted, right? And you can see you can stop sharing it, and then see what are the users having access to the team folder. So by using that, we also have the shared folders I explained, and to use the team folder, and we can see the sharing center here. As I mentioned earlier, it shows that now the folder ASAP is being shared with people, or if you are John, or in this case I'm not, you will see if there is someone sharing with you here. And then I will move on to the share link and try to explain how to do the share link here, which it could be similarly, for example, say another file, say using a Qsync NASpedia. By clicking here, right click, share the link, and it will direct you to the client here directly to have either as a mail or have the link here, copy the link and send it to someone. You can, if you're connected to the SMT server, you can also send it as a email, and you can write the email here, the subject and the content of the link. More so, you can edit the settings with a link name and the domain IP where it's coming from. We also have the opportunity for more settings, and you can protect it by setting a password. I'll leave it without password, and then you can just send if you are connected to the SMTP server, just send the share link to someone, or just copy the share link here. And you can see that by the sharing center, you can see that here the share link has been created earlier, and then you can copy it from here or another earlier one. So you can kind of check the logs of this one also. So it can be done by either simply right click from the folders in your computer, or it can be done by the Qsync client here by using the sharing center. By using the sharing center, where you can check how to add more. So you can also check the current NAS. More so, you check the file update center if what are the updates and the logs in this from the Qsync client, where you can see earlier that I did share the information, and it shows you the time and the action, either if it's uploaded, downloaded, deleted, and so on and so on. So we'll close this one, or you can clear the logs as I cleared earlier. So this is for now the information that I wanted to show you on creating the share folders and the share link. But I want to talk about another exclusive feature, which is we have some exclusive feature in the Qsync Central, which is the version control. Actually, this is very important, and I want to show you in the clearest way possible the version control and what does it mean actually, and I will show you also the remotely erase function there. So going back here in the Qsync Central, we go here to the version control, and you enable the version control. First step, you enable the version control, and then you can see why is this important and why this helps you if there are some changes. As I mentioned earlier, if you are doing working in teams and someone accidentally makes some changes, or someone did some changes and you're in a different time zone and you want to see where the changes has been done, then version control can be very useful at that point and at that moment. So we can use the version control here, and also use the advanced features of the version control, which it provides you with a maximum number of versions based on what we choose here. What I mean is that you can have up from 32 from two versions. I left it at 32, or is the default one, from two versions to have the control, see the changes, up to 64, which is quite a lot. Probably no one reaches that number anyway. So a version will be generated each time you save a file, so the file can be restored as needed. So I will apply these for now, and apply all these changes, and we'll see how to do the version control manipulation. So I'll go back to the files in the Qsync file here. Since we have the changes, I'll do some changes in some of the files here, and maybe we can see what is the difference for the version control and how it will be used. Therefore, I will just, for example, go to this file, and if I will do some changes first. Let me see. It's here 1.998. So I will delete some of the information. Oh, I deleted everything. Right. I'll just leave this one, and then it should have a Qfile NASpedia 878. So what I'll do here is right click, and I'll see first see the previous versions in the file station. It will tell you that the previous version it shows here. You can download. Now I will do more changes again, and I will do, for example, for the same one, I will change it now to 878. I will add some more slides, and then I will save it, and then it should change the from 878 to 882. If that's the case, then I'll go back again to view the previous versions, and it will give you all the information from the changes that we are doing. So you see, I did the changes here as I deleted earlier, 199. I know that was before someone did some changes, it decreased to this amount, and then someone did again some changes and it decreased to this amount. But what you can do is you can either restore it or download it. So the first PPT, it had a lot of slides. I went in, I changed it to 877, and then you can see by downloading it that there should be only one slide. And then by opening it, you can see with the version control that there is only one slide from the on, and it's not the original anymore. And I can see that this was the change. I also know by the size that after I added the blank slides, that this is the second actual change, where I can see by downloading it again and see that there should be, in this version, there should be the slides, the blank slides. So you can see this one is the one with the blank slides, while in the Qsync we did the changes twice, so we know what has been going on, and this is the version control, very powerful. You can also restore it, and then you can choose the path where to restore it, and you can go, for example, the folder, and then restore it into any of those, and you will have the information where to restore it there. So it should be here in the NAS. It's uploading. Therefore, we go back to Qsync client. We go to the folders that we are connected. We are syncing all the files and all the information together, and we go to see the Qsync in the file station. We have all this integration together. So after using the version control, the other thing is that when we go to the devices here, we have the opportunity in the end to remotely erase the device. What I mean by this one is that we just click here and you can erase the device and all the contents in the Qsync folder. So this device will be deleted, and it will show a pop-up window that will ask you if you're sure to do this one. By clicking next, you will be loading the data, and then it will ask you to enter the password from the information and the following numbers. So probably add 3DK52WM. Oh, this is lowercase, and the password probably I'll just leave it blank. The password should be the password of the NAS. So the password of the NAS that you log in. Are you sure you want to erase the data on this device? Yeah, probably, because it's a demonstration video and this device is erased. So it shows here that you are disconnected and the device is erased from the Qsync Central, and it doesn't have the Qsync folder is empty in the end. So you can see that is very powerful if you want to erase someone, if you don't want someone to have access anymore. If, say, for example, one of the team members already left but is remotely working, and you have control from the Qsync Central, this is the way to go, and this is the way to use erase remotely function from the Qsync Central, where you have this centralized control. Even if other people, team members, individuals, family members are across the world, you still have control of all the files and folders that you are sharing with and working with those people. So this has been the QNAP NAS on how to synchronize the files on your computers and NAS with Qsync, which is a very powerful application, very powerful, very useful, and it allows you to create your own private cloud and management system on files and folders by sharing with the team and other people. So thank you, and I'll see you next time.